Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and the Dame 9 has officially been unveiled by Adidas. So what is going on at Adidas? So if you guys didn't know, the Dawn issue 6 has been leaked for the past like 6 to 8 months. So we've known what that shoe was supposed to look like, and the Dawn issue 5 just came out like a couple months ago. And then the Harden, so we know what the Harden Volume 9 is supposed to look like. Apparently, right? We've had some leaked images of that. Also, the Harden Volume 8 kind of just came out. You know, it's supposed to release in a couple weeks, but they did have like a drop on finish line, which they kind of pulled. But yeah, that shoe, we've known what it's going to look like for the past like couple months as well, or like for a long time. And Harden's been playing in it this entire season. But for the Dame 9, we haven't had any information, which is weird, right? So the only other kind of leak that we've had was that Damian Lillard was practicing in like a shoe that we didn't really see, but it was pretty potato quality. You couldn't really see the shoe all too well, but a lot of people were speculating that it was the Dame 9, and it actually does look like the original or this official kind of image, right? So as far as the Damian Lillard line, so if you guys didn't know, it started with the D Lillards, right? It used to be called the D Lillards. I used to have the D Lillard one, but I really disliked that shoe, so I gave it away. I'm kind of sad because that means my collection isn't complete. I don't have the D Lillard one, but anyways, this is the 2, and this shoe is a banger. Remember when this shoe came out? It was amazing. The first one retailed for $105, and I believe this shoe was like $110, right? But yeah, the D Lillard 2 was absolutely amazing, and of course they changed up the name to the Dame 3, right? From the 3, this is where they changed up the name and they started calling it the Dame, right? So this is the Dame signature shoe line, and then of course we have the 4, which is one of my favorite shoes, right? So basically the 4 and the 2 are my favorite shoes in this entire line, and then the 5 was definitely a huge letdown. The 5 was not a great performer for me in my personal opinion. The 6 was actually really nice, but this colorway not so much because of the translucent, but I do have another color with a solid white rubber outsole, which did perform a little bit better. And of course we got the 7. 7 was a really nice shoe, but super duper heavy, and for the past couple of models it's been extremely heavy, right? So as far as the weight goes, right, and if you guys didn't know, we got the Dame 8 and the Dame 8 extended play. So the Dame 8 extended play, this shoe came out September 1st of last year, right? So like what, 5 months ago already, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, this shoe is the extended play, or kind of like the a different version of the Dame 8. And the reason why I don't like the extended play version is it's so freaking heavy. So this shoe, the Dame 8, isn't super heavy. However, it is pretty bulky and not super responsive because the cushion is just so dang soft. And there's a lot of padding on the upper, right? So as far as the overall like weight goes, it comes in at 12.85 ounces, right? Which is still kind of on the heavier side of things, but it's more like average weight. But the extended play version, this is like 15 ounces. 14.9 ounces, basically 15 ounces. So they pretty much, you know, up the weight, which is weird, right? So Dame's shoes have never really been consistent with its weight, right? The Dame 4 is actually quite light. So it comes in at 11.55 ounces, which is weird, right? And if you look at the Dame 7, the Dame 7 is actually kind of heavy. 13.15 ounces, not super heavy though. And then Dame 6 is a little bit on the lighter side of things because it is using light strike, 12.2 ounces, right? So it's been like on and off, like it's been kind of light, it's been heavy, you know what I mean? But the Dame 8 extended play is freaking heavy, right? And the original Dame 8, this shoe came out December 17th, or basically December of 2021. So it came out 3 years ago, and then basically 2 years later they came out with basically the same exact shoe, but like in my personal opinion a crappier version because it's just so much heavier and bulkier with this useless kind of like strap. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm hating, but I was a little upset because I really like Dame's shoe line, but then with this I was kind of disappointed, especially since it felt really lazy. You know, it's basically using the same exact outsole and midsole. But anyways, yeah, so it's been a while. I don't know what Adidas was doing, right? But from like the Dame 6 to like the Dame 8, they did release his shoe pretty quickly. So that's why, you know, it was like 9 years ago. The D Lillard one came out February of 2015, which is 9 years ago. So if it's like one shoe every year, it should be on the 9th signature shoe for 2024, right? So that kind of does make sense, but they did put his line on a hiatus for quite a while, right? But yeah, the Dame 9. So we don't know what the traction looks like. For some reason, there's no actual outsole pictures. But it does look pretty dang cool, kinda, right? I am liking it, but it does look a little bit bulky for me, you know what I mean? And that's one thing I don't like about Adidas hoop shoes, is that they are kind of bulky and they are pretty dang heavy. The lightest shoe in their kind of like signature shoe lineup is the Dawn issue 5, which isn't super lightweight, first of all. And then of course the Harden volume 7, the Harden volume 8 is like 15 ounces. Same thing with the AE1. The Trae Young 3 isn't super heavy, but it is really bulky because it's so dang poofy. The midsole just bulges out. It doesn't feel super minimal, right? But anyways, as far as the cushioning setup goes, if you look at the lateral side, it doesn't really say anything as far as the foam, right? But if you look on the actual medial side, it says light strike, which is pretty interesting, right? So the Dame 8, right, it was using Bounce Pro. Same thing with the Dame 8 extended play. Bounce Pro is actually really nice. There is a lot of compression. It's soft, it's super duper comfortable, and there is a little bit of bounce. But first of all, it is a really high density foam. Like, it's a really heavy foam. That's why it contributes a good amount of weight to the actual shoe. But also, they just made it a little too thick in my personal opinion. So it's just too soft. It wasn't super responsive for me. But the only other time they used light strike is the Dame 7 and also the Dame 6, right? The Dame 7 and then the Dame 6, right? The Dame 5, I believe they were using bounce in this shoe, right? They were using bounce in the Dame 5. Same thing with the Dame 4. Dame 3 bounce. The D Lillard 2 was also bounce, and then D Lillard 1, I don't remember what the D Lillard 1 was, but yeah, they're coming back to light strike, which I do like. We do have a pretty thick slab of light strike, and light strike is really nice because it's soft. There is a nice little rebound back as well. It's not super bouncy though, but it is soft, which I do like. But one thing I don't like about light strike is that it does bottom up pretty quickly. But if you also look at the back of the shoe, we do have the rubber outsole coming up in the heel, right? It does come up in the heel to cage the actual like back of the shoe, which I don't like as much because in my personal opinion, I like to have a little bit more compression in the back of the shoe. You know what I mean? Right here, and also maybe a little bit on the lateral side, but you don't want as much compression here on the lateral side because it can be laterally unstable. But I don't know, why would you do that? Why would you cage it in the back of the shoe, right? When you're doing heel dominant strikes, you want, or even heel strikes, you want a little bit more compression in the back of the shoe, right? Right? But anyways, it is using light strike. It is caged in the back of the heel, but it does look nice. We'll have to see how much of that kind of midsole it comes up acting as a sidewall and how much of it your foot is actually on top of. But also, we have light strike, but then like we have this plastic piece that's on top of it as well. So it comes really far down into the midsole here in the forefoot, and pretty much in the toe box, right? In the tip of the toe, it looks like it covers the entire toe box with this plastic. Comes up a little bit with it. Also, there's a little slit right there, right? There's a little slit, probably allows for a little bit more kind of like flex in the forefoot, and then it cages the entire kind of like lateral side of the shoe, but also acts as a lateral cage for lateral support and lateral containment, which of course is a good thing. That's really good, right? Also, this material looks really sturdy, very supportive, kind of thick as well. We have kind of like 3 stripes, but it's more of like a, I don't know, it's not like 3 stripes, like the usual 3 stripes, you know what I mean? It's usually just rectangles, but here it's more like a triangle shape. And also we have the Adidas logo on the toe box, which is pretty interesting. But also on the medial side, it doesn't really look like there's caging, that plastic caging, which makes sense. You don't really need that plastic caging on the medial side. You're not doing like lateral movements that way, you know what I mean? So that makes sense as well, and it doesn't really look caged either for the cushion. And then as far as like the actual toe box goes, it looks like a synthetic material. It looks kind of stiff, which I don't like. Can we please just go back to, you know, the Dame 4, or you guys remember the D Lillard 2 with the jacquard? This shoe, this material was so dang nice, and especially for only 110 bucks. You guys remember that? And also this is a one booty kind of upper, so you can just slide your foot. It was just so dang nice. And same thing with the Dame 4, although it was more like just one booty, right? Straight up one booty. But we also have kind of like an inner booty, like this with this black material. We can see Dame's logo on the tongue, and the tongue looks pretty plush. It looks like it has a good amount of padding as well. But yeah, I'm not liking the material choice so far. It does look pretty dang stiff. We'll have to see on that. And just a heads up, I have been playing the Harden Volume 8, and the Harden Volume 8 is kind of like, now that I'm playing in it, it is kind of digging into the top of my foot a little bit, you know what I mean? And I definitely did notice that. It doesn't hurt or anything, it's just a little uncomfortable with the foam. And even in this like synthetic material, it does look stiff. It doesn't look super soft, you know what I mean? But of course, that's just from the pictures. We don't know 100% yet. And also we've had official images of the Dawn issue 6, which is pretty cool. We've already known what it's supposed to look like. But yeah, and also with the upper, the material looks a lot thinner. It looks super duper thin, especially comparing it to the Dame 9. And I do like how it looks, but it kind of reminds me of like the Jordan, what, 36, right? So tell us what you guys think of the Dame 9 in this red colorway. It does also look, it looks a little bottom heavy as well, and does look a little bulky. It looks a little bulky to me. I don't know why. Hopefully it's not too bulky, and also hopefully it's not too heavy, but honestly, I don't think Adidas really cares about that. You know what I mean? What Adidas prioritizes, I feel like, is support, especially in their upper, and also cushion. You know, they do cushioning really well, usually with all of their hoop shoes, but weight really isn't like a priority to them. I feel like, you know what I mean? But of course, I've been playing in the Adi Zero Select 2.0, and that shoe is hot garbage. I really don't like playing in that shoe. But it's really light though. It's really light. It's like 10 point something ounces. But anyways, tell us what your thoughts are on the Dame 9 down in the comment section below. And what do you guys think of his entire shoe line so far? And what's your favorite shoe in his entire shoe line? You know what I mean? Like I said, for me, it's the Dame 4, D Lillard 2, and then the Dame 6 kind of is like the third place, you know? But anyways, that about concludes this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.